So my journey started about 5 years back, like I mentioned, and I saw a huge impact in my day-to-day life, in my relationships, at work, able to focus more, be more creative. Physical health improved. My memory improved with age, which is really unheard of, but that's been my experience. We will start off this webinar by a meditation, Raj Yoga meditation. I will play some background music and create some positive thoughts, so more like a commentary. Just want to kind of give a brief introduction of what Raj Yoga meditation is. Unlike other meditation techniques, here we consciously create positive thoughts, and the whole idea is that the reason for creating thoughts is that typically on a regular basis, we create about 30 odd thoughts every minute. And when we are anxious and stressed, we create about 50 odd thoughts, 50 to 70 sometimes. So it's very hard for the mind to go from such high speed to zero speed where we don't create any thoughts at all. So Raj Yoga is a very gentle way of educating the mind to create very little thoughts, and it does reach a stage where you don't create any thoughts at all, and you're just experiencing the beauty of your inner being. So negative thoughts are pretty fast and rapid, and they go at a very fast pace. And that is why the number of thoughts increase, whereas positive thoughts are very concentrated and they are very focused. And as a result, the number of thoughts that we create reduce drastically. These thoughts, where we are educating our mind to think creatively, elevatedly, also help us as a guide throughout the day, because throughout the day we are going through various different kinds of situations, sometimes big, sometimes almost like a crisis. At that time, we actually need the right way to think, and our training, the mind to think positively comes in very handy, because we are immediately able to select the right thought and come out of that situation very quickly. So Raj Yoga meditation is very powerful. It allows us to connect to our higher perfect self. And two simple instructions to practice this meditation. One is to keep your eyes slightly open. We are not trying to look at anything or, look everywhere here and there, but really like a very minor gaze, maybe at the bottom or wherever you want to put that. And then the main idea here to keep the eyes open is that this meditation is not something that needs to be practiced only in a quiet zone early in the morning, where everything is, calm and dark and things like that. That is very good as well. We should do the early morning quiet meditation, but throughout the day, this meditation can be practiced. It's meditation in action, Karma Yoga. So, as we practice the meditation throughout the day, then our inner state is a lot stronger. So for example, I practice this meditation while I am, doing chores of the house or running, exercising, even at work, sometimes in meetings, because we are not actively participating. That time we can start this meditation with our eyes open, right? So the whole idea is to give ourselves a signal that meditation is not restricted to a quiet zone early morning, but throughout the day needs to be practiced. And the other thing is that when we keep our eyes open, we don't fall asleep. Plus, we can focus a lot better. Closed eye causes us to be sleepy or go into various different thoughts. And one other thing that really helps in this meditation is visualization. Meditation, which is just done like a robot, right, where you're kind of trying to create thoughts or listening to something, is something that very hard to do for a long time, because it feels pretty robotic and mundane. Whereas when you create visuals, your mind and intellect are engaged a lot more. So focus is better. Plus, pictures always generate a feeling in us. For example, you might not have your parent or your grandparents in front of you, but if you visualize their picture in your mind, then automatically feelings start arising in our heart, right? So when the heart is engaged, when you're feeling something, then the experience in meditation is very powerful. And that power that we experience in meditation lasts us for a very long time versus that robotic way of doing, right? So, for example, if I say the word purity, you might want to bring up maybe an angel or maybe an innocent baby, maybe your own baby image. So use these words that come in the thoughts that we are going to say, that I'm going to say out loud to create visuals, and then you should be able to experience a lot more. So here I get started. Let me just increase the volume of my machine here. Let's sit comfortably, back straight, feet on the ground, and eyes slightly open if possible, and hands on your legs or as still as possible. Let's take a journey within. And ask ourselves a few questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I heading towards? How long have I been traveling? What do I want from life? And have I found it? The inner being has all the answers. Let's listen. I am a pure, peaceful, happy, and a powerful being. I come from the land of peace and silence, and I will go back there. I have always been around. I am eternal and imperishable. Everything about me is divine, special, and beautiful. I am bold, courageous, and can do anything. Nothing is beyond me. All I want from life is peace, love, and happiness. And I, the fortunate being, can easily create and emerge what I want. through my elevated thoughts. I, the powerful being, can donate what others desire through my positive thoughts and pure feelings. Every being in this webinar is filled with peace and power. Every being in this country is filled with peace and power. Every being in this world is filled with peace and power. I am the most elevated creation of this universe because I can choose, make decisions, and create beautiful things. Thank you, God, for giving me such a beautiful and elevated life. All right, I hope that was easy to practice. Feel free to ask questions about it towards the end. Again, reminder for everyone to please keep themselves muted and save their questions for the end. We won't be able to answer any questions via chat just due to the number of people who have registered for the webinar. So please save your questions for the end. We are indeed currently going through unprecedented and unusual time in the world. The entire world, we can all feel, has been shaken. And in this particular phase that we are all going through, it's important to ask ourselves, what is our responsibility? Towards ourselves, our family, our society, and our world. What is our responsibility? Sometimes when we are, just kind of getting carried away with whatever is going outside, we forget that there are many responsibilities that we have. We kind of haphazardly take care of everything, but we are not fully present, taking care of everything. So the most important thing during this particular time, the crisis that we are all going through in the entire world, it's very important that we take care of ourselves, our family, our society, and also our world. Now, we will go into more details of what it means to really take care of the self and everything else around us. But without taking care of the self, not just the physical aspect, but really the mental and emotional aspect of the self, if we don't take care of that, it's very hard, and it is going to get very hard for us to take care of anything else, right? So today's webinar will really be more focused on how taking care of yourself will help and enable you to take care of everything else as beautifully as possible. In the time of crisis, what is it that we really need, right? I mean, this particular time of crisis that is going on, we can think about a lot of physical amenities and medical facilities and everything else that are needed. Even our healthcare and law enforcing authorities, they have done a lot of things also to ensure that we are able to get out of this crisis in a healthy and safe manner. We pretty much have a shelter in place order. Most of the world has gone work from home. Kids are staying at school. So indeed, all of these things are very important as well to ensure that the physical health remains intact. But in addition, while we are doing all of this, there is something that is even more powerful and much needed to take care of everything outside. And those are our beautiful qualities. You know, in order to go through any kind of challenging times, we need courage to face the crisis and not be weakened by it. We need a sense of calmness and not run ahead of what might happen. Patience. A lot of times it's very hard when everything around seems to be falling and things are looking like they're getting worse. Day by day, more people are getting affected. How do we maintain our patience, right? So let's talk about that as well. And finally, not the least important, but wisdom, right? Really, ability to create mature and rational thoughts, make mature decisions, right? So we need the right way to think. We need the spiritual knowledge that will help us in making better decisions, because a lot of times we start doing what others are doing and it might not really be the most mature way of doing things, because we're just going with the flow of wherever everybody is heading, right? So it's important to take a step back and see, is this the right way? If you think about it, one thing that really finishes everything that we actually need in critical times is really when we start creating a lot of these negative emotions, which are worry, anxiety, and fear. These emotions directly attack our inner strength. One is the physical strength, where we are trying to take care, right? To eat healthy, exercise as much as we can. And we are also trying to keep our physical very clean by sanitizing ourselves in every possible way, right? To wash our hands frequently, to make sure everything around us is quite clean, and so on. But what about our inner being? Are we making sure that everything is all right inside? Because right now the world is filled with a lot of negative emotions. Everybody is consumed by worry, anxiety, and fear. And if we are not taking care, we won't even realize, and we will also be sucked into this negative vibrations that is radiating everywhere, right? Even people who tend to stay calm and positive comparatively will get consumed by the environment, by the vibrations that are being spread everywhere. So if we start creating worry, anxiety, and fear, then there is no place for wisdom, for courage, for patience, for calmness, right? You either have positive emotions or you have negative emotions. They can't coexist. So we just talked about how we need all of these positive emotions to get through a crisis, right? It's not just the physical aspect that needs to be taken care, especially when it looks like the crisis that the world is going through, the COVID-19, will require some time, and nobody is even able to say for sure for how long, right? So during that time, we do need a lot of patience and calm, because if we go with all of these negative emotions, the worry, the anxiety, and fear, then it is very hard to survive for a long time in this crisis. And our inner being needs to be a lot more positive, right? So while we are taking care of sanitizing everything outside, it's important to check, am I creating fear and contaminating my mind with that virus? Fear is indeed like a virus because it starts with a single question of doubt, what will happen? And then there is a series of questions, lot of doubts that get generated. Fear is basically an illusion that we create that something bad will happen, right? We are predicting that something bad is going to happen. And once that way of thinking starts, soon it takes up speed and our creation of fearful thoughts increases in an exponential manner. And it completely contaminates our mind. And because the mind is so busy creating so many negative thoughts, the inner being starts feeling very weak, right? So as we are taking care of everything outside, keeping everything sanitized, making sure that our family is taking good care of sanitizing their hands, everything they might have touched, we need to also do one inner check. Am I okay inside? Am I calm? Am I able to maintain my patience? Or am I very fearful inside, right? So very important for us to really remain calm during these testing times. When we are creating fear, it's important to check what kind of energy are we radiating to the cosmos, right? Everybody in this world, without even realizing, is generating a lot of negative vibrations when they're creating fear. Now, one of the things, fear is always created it's always related to future. Fear is not about the past, it's always about the future. Indeed, it is our past experiences or somebody else's experiences that we read about or listen about. It causes us to fear, but it is something that we are anticipating might happen in the future. Now, future itself is really unknown, right? It cannot be predicted. Nobody in this world can predict future. But fear is a way of making the unpredictable future predictable by saying, I know the future. It's going to be very bad. My future is going to be bad. Family's future is going to be bad. This society's future looks bleak. World looks like in a very bad shape. So on and on. When I am saying, I'm basically making predictions. When the reality is, future is unknown, then why am I making it known? By creating fear. And if I have to predict future about myself and my family and the world, why should I predict it to be bad? Is that a wise thing to do? Typically, when we love someone, we always create a blessing for them, right? We say, be happy, be always prosperous. And even in India, like especially in India, a lot of people go to pilgrimages and holy places to get a blessing from a saint or from that place itself, because they're pure, powerful vibrations. And we go there and we tell them about, this has happened, that has happened. What do you think? Everything will be all right? And this saint just says, yeah, everything will be all right. You will do just fine. Everything of yours is going to shine, right? So they are giving us a blessing. They don't know what it's going to be, but they just give us a blessing that everything will be all right in future. Now, I don't need to travel so far and spend so much money to actually get a blessing. I can bless myself, my family, my society, and my world by saying whatever is going to happen in future, I will be fine. I will face it with dignity. I will face it with courage. We as a world collectively will come out of it, right? I can bless myself by doing this instead of predicting the future, which is actually unpredictable. It's also very important to recognize that fear is a very harmful emotion. In Brahmakumaris, we are always taught, the impact of every emotion, its root cause, and then we are told actually curing it is very easy. It's only when you fully understand the harm that particular emotion is doing that it inspires you. It gives you this enthusiasm that, oh gosh, this is so bad for me. This is so bad for my physical health, for my relations, for everything. I have to get rid of it. And then we are also taught what are the symptoms, how do you catch if you are affected by fear, what is the root cause. When you understand everything so clearly, then it becomes a lot easier to let go of an emotion that is so damaging, right? When we are creating fear, our mind accelerates in thousands of directions. What if this happened? Maybe I should do this. Maybe this is not a very good idea. How about that? Let me call 10 different people. Let me consult with here. Let me actually go and check the internet website. No, I'm not convinced. Let me talk to someone else, right? So really the mind blows apart and gets us to drive in different directions. In such a state of mind, can we really focus? During a crisis, if I have to make good decisions, I need first the mind to be focused. If my mind is not focused, and if it is creating thousands of different ideas for me, and I then at that point cannot decide. Most people, because of creating fear for an elongated period of time, lose all of their inner strength. So they don't have the power to even make a decision. They will either avoid decisions or will leave it on someone else because they feel they can't take the responsibility of that decision. Right? So either it will lead to no decision making or very poor one. Right? How can you choose between 1,000 negative thoughts? All of them are negative. And when you are in such a state of mind, there is no way we can really be creative and come up with some out of box thinking, right? A lot of times when you're going through a crisis, the regular way of thinking, the same mindset will not work. You have to think completely in a different manner to get out of it. Many times detachment is needed. Otherwise, if you are just in that scenario, only talking about what is happening to other people, what is happening to different countries, to the world, to your family, and so on, then there is nothing creative that is going to come out of. You're just going to listen to other people's fearful ideas and then take a similar decision. While our mind is busy creating so many negative toxins, viruses inside of us, every inner organ of our body gets damaged. In a flu kind of a thing, regular flu, not this special flu that is going on, in a regular kind of flu, typically at least we can feel, feverish, there's a runny nose and so on. So we know very clearly that body at this moment is not feeling healthy. Fear is a virus that kills and cripples us from inside. It damages the inner organs and we are not aware, but it is slowly damaging every cell of our body. It causes blood to not reach every cell of the body. We are not able to breathe fully. If you think about it, when you are creating so many fearful thoughts, you are in a very weak state. There is no way you can be courageous, take a bold step. When you don't have courage and you're thinking everything is looking bleak, your future is bleak, there is no enthusiasm. And and no hope either, because future is looking so gloomy, right? So how do you get out of a crisis when you don't have the strength, when you don't have the spirit of life anymore? You're thinking everything is bad. Then would you even feel like trying to get out of it, right? And in this time that we are going through, where everybody is reading a lot of information, they're talking to people and getting even more information, it is very important that we don't have these conversations, fearful conversation in front of each other. Whatever needs to be discussed is already being discussed in the newspaper, internet, you name it, right? It's everywhere on social media. Now, if we bring these kind of negative discussions even in our home, and this is all we are talking about, there are little ones and elderly who might really create a lot of fear. They are really looking up to the adults to see that, they will keep us safe, and that, whatever it is, we will come out of it. But if we are fearful and we are only talking a lot of fearful things, then unknowingly we are also instilling fear in our family. And if we are talking to a lot of friends and extended family, we are unknowingly instilling fears in them too. It's important to take a step back and say, how does creating negative thoughts, creating thoughts about future that is unknown, really help us? Does it help anyone at all? As a result of this, many times relationships start suffering because the young ones still like to maintain their hope and courage. They want to do certain things. And we, out of fear, might say, don't do this, otherwise this might happen. Don't go here, this might happen, and so on. So if we are taking extreme measures because of this fear that we have developed, then a lot of times relationships suffer a lot. They feel suffocated in our presence. The biggest damage fear does is it takes away our confidence. It's telling us that you can't take care of yourself, your family, and that is why the confidence, right? Automatically, if you're saying in your thoughts that I don't think I can come out of this, I don't think the world can come out of this, then where is the confidence, the willpower? Right? All of these things are necessary for us to collectively come out of this crisis. But fear does the exact opposite. It takes away our willpower, our ability to stretch, to think innovatively, to be courageous. That all of that is tarnished when we start creating fear. Now let's also try to understand what is the root cause of fear, right? It's very important to understand the root cause versus just by looking at the symptoms. We might say, okay, this person is affected by fear, and then we might take few precautions to avoid being in those situations. So for example, if a person has fear of heights, they might say, okay, I should, so that's just the symptom. And we might say, okay, I'm never going to be, in tall buildings or any place that's very up above, and so on. So I've taken care of the symptom that heights cause fear in me. But what is the root cause? Why do I feel fearful when I am in this heights? So let's try to understand the root cause of this emotion. I was given this example of beautiful tree, and I felt this was such a magnificent and powerful way to understand this whole world around us. The biggest reason for fear is living in falsehood, not keeping the reality, the truth in our consciousness. So our subconscious knows that things can go bad. People can die. We know all about it, right? We've also seen other people's experiences. So we know everything in the subconscious mind. but we don't keep all of that reality in our conscious mind. So here in this tree, visualize yourself, the emotional being, the spirit, right here at the root level. And then each of these branches are various aspects of your life, spheres of life, right? So everything below the ground is you, the spirit, the soul, the emotional being, right? And everything above is the outside world. So I am responsible, the emotional being, is responsible for various branches of my life, my relationships, taking care of my finances, ensuring that my body health stays good, and, doing my work in a timely and accurate manner, right? So, and we have many, many other branches. So I'm just taking few examples here. Now, if you look at the outside world, there are three realities or characteristic of this world. Everything in this world is constantly in flux. It is changing. On top of it, sometimes there is various aspects of our life that perish for good. So everything around us is perishable, including our body. Death is inevitable. And the other reality, the third reality is, in spite of me trying very hard, doing everything in my power, this outside world is out of my control. Now, this outer world has three characteristics that we just talked about: constantly changing, perishable, and out of control. Now, when you are living in such a world, and you're saying the basis of my happiness is when every leaf of my tree is green. Visualize this tree as in relationships, the variety of people you know. Maybe at work, the different types of tasks and projects you own. In body, it could be your different parts of your body. It could be cosmetic part of your body, the physical aspect of your body, and so on. So you have various leaves here in every branch. I am saying if every leaf of my world is green, that's when I can be happy and peaceful. Now let's take a step back and ask ourselves this question. Is it possible? Is it really possible for these leaves to stay green? Can I really control them? I think most likely each one of us will say no. Now let's look at the entire world. Do we know of a single person, the richest to rich to poor, young people, old people, infants, Americans, Indians, Chinese? Is there anyone who has this tree to be entirely green? It is the reality of this world that these leaves cannot be green. They will constantly become pale at times. Sometimes they will completely perish. And no matter how much I try, they will not come back to life again. If they have to perish, they will fall off the tree. What we are doing is we are taking a lot of effort in pouring water to every leaf of this tree. And we are hoping the roots, the emotional being, will be empowered, will be happy, will be peaceful. Right? If I keep all of these leaves green, if I keep pouring water here, then automatically the roots will stay healthy. Common sense says water should be poured at the root level. Then the entire tree will automatically draw the minerals, the nutrients that are needed for it to stay healthy. Now, what do we mean by pouring water? Pouring water basically is meaning that how much effort, time, and energy am I putting in taking care of leaves, in controlling the leaves to be green. Let me control my family and keep them locked down. Yes, we do need to do as much as the guidance has been given. How much am I trying to spend time in fixing my relationships or my body aspects and things on? And how much time and effort am I putting in to take care of my emotional being, to look after, am I okay? Am I feeling all right inside? When we take care of the emotional being through meditation, through spiritual knowledge, by creating positive thoughts, automatically every leaf of this tree starts becoming green a lot faster. When we pour water here, it basically means I am taking care to stay calm through my positive thoughts and pure feelings. And when I do that, won't I be able to make better decisions? When my thoughts are positive, when I am feeling deep serenity inside, a sense of contentment, won't every branch of my life do better? So when I make the basis of my happiness to say, hey, the tree, you need to be green, it's only then I can be happy. That is when fear starts getting created, because the reality is, we've seen it happen to many people. We've heard about it. And we've also experienced that some of our leaves have perished. So let's keep this reality in our awareness, in our consciousness, that everything in our world is meant to change. Uncertainty is certain. Perishability is certain. When I keep the truth in my awareness and constantly remind myself in meditation that this is the reality of the world, then I don't rely so much on this external world for my inner being. Instead, I put the effort in meditation, reading, listening to empowering knowledge, staying in the company of people who are only creating positive thoughts, to keep creating my own peace, my own happiness. I don't need to rely on anything to feel happiness, to feel peace. And the worst part is, on taking care of everything, we overestimate the life, like, oh my gosh, life for me is very difficult. Everything around seems so difficult, so challenging, so uncertain. So we make life a player very strong. And on the other hand, we make ourselves very weak. We say, hey, you the spirit, you're very weak. I don't think you can handle it. I don't think you can take care of yourself. I don't think you can do anything good. So when I doubt my ability, I'm making myself weak. Now, indeed, if I have to face a competitor, life, and I'm making life the bigger player and myself a very, very weak player, I'm automatically going to be fearful. Right? So is this a wise thing to do? Is this a wise way to play the game of life? So now finally coming to the part, how do we overcome fear then? Now that we've understood the root cause of the fear, we've understood the damage it does, it is automatically very clear what do we need to do, right? Obviously, what all we were doing, we should not be doing all of that. So kind of a quick summary on that is, many times we get lost in our own smaller world. My health, my kids' health, my partner's health, my parents' health, my family's health. We are so focused. We become so self-centered and narrow-minded. And whenever our mind is very narrowly focused, when we become very short-sighted, that time attachment is huge. And when you're looking at such a small picture, automatically fear increases, right? Because you are only living in your own small world thinking everything is bad, everything is bad. But if you make yourself sit on the globe and look at the bigger picture, what it is doing to everyone, how even survival has become difficult for more than half of the world. If I look at all of that crisis that is going on, then what is going on with me seems very, very minor, right? So it's very important to always keep a bigger picture in our awareness, not be too consumed by our own, smaller world. Yes, we are responsible for our family or for our own self, but let me not lose the vision of everything that is happening outside as well, right? Let me be more considerate and sensitive to the bigger problem. And when we start doing that, an inspiration arises inside of us that, you know what, I am really well off. People outside are going through such tough challenges. What can I do to help in this kind of situation? And then when you are thinking of helping others, automatically your fear, worry is all gone, because now you are thinking elevatedly in a more charitable manner. This is one of the easiest way to finish worry, anxiety, and fear. Don't be consumed by your small world. Let's create and visualize the bigger picture. And it's also, second point is, it's also very important to not jump ahead. Like we talked about, fear is a way of predicting future is unpleasant. Let's not predict something that cannot be predicted, right? Inevitable will happen. Let me not run ahead and start planning based on that, right? We've seen a lot of hoarding happening. People are not finding the bare minimum things that they need because everybody else has over purchased, because thinking that will not even be allowed to go home, nothing will be available anymore, and so on. And a lot of people have done many different kinds of things here. So instead of doing all of that, this particular moment, what can I do that will be useful for myself, for my family, and for the entire world? So we here at Brahmakumaris every day in the evening collectively from 7:30 to 8 have been practicing meditation to send positive vibrations of peace, love, courage to everyone in this world, right? Because fear is radiating negative energy to the cosmos, so people who are not aware are unknowingly consuming and creating more fears. So it's just quadrupling and exponentially increasing those vibrations. So I as a person can help this world by creating powerful vibrations and send strength and courage to people who are going through a real crisis, and say, no, you have the courage, you'll get out of it, you will be fine, right? So let me bless everyone by maintaining faith, which is the last point. Really, fear is predicting the unknown and calling it bad. Faith is also predicting the unknown, but saying whatever it is, we will collectively face it. We will come out of it. Right now, whatever it is, things are getting bad, that is okay. I still maintain faith and courage. Without faith, courage, patience, enthusiasm, spirit will not arise. Only negative emotions will arise if we create fear. Right? So I need to maintain this faith and bless myself, my family, constantly tell them, hey, yes, things are looking bad. Don't listen to too many people, your friends and everything. We are telling you we will get through this. Let's be hopeful, right? Let's divert our attention to something more creative, something more meaningful. Let's utilize the time we have to have a better bonding with family and so on. And let's collectively radiate powerful vibrations to people who are really in need. I do want to mention here that Raj Yoga meditation is such a powerful technique that comes in very handy in this time that we are going through the world, because most of us are habituated to think negatively anytime there is a challenge or difficult situation, right? And right now it's not even a challenge, it's actually a real crisis that the world is going through. It's not one place, it's the entire world that is going through a crisis. So if I don't take care of creating, if I don't have the habit of creating positive thoughts, then my habit of fear will automatically take over. On an autopilot mode, I'll be creating fear, right? So Raj Yoga practice for me has helped tremendously. A lot of my family members are creating all kinds of fear during this time, and I have been able to create positive thoughts and direct them also towards that, right? Instead of being consumed by their fearful thoughts, I am trying to inculcate my positive way of thinking on them. Even one person in a family, if they maintain their faith and calm, the entire family starts changing, right? And visualize, if you are this person who's changing your family, then if we have many such families in the world, and how many positive vibrations would go out to this world. It also enables us to connect to our higher self. We are divine beings, children of God, completely pure, positive, powerful, and wise. In Raj Yoga meditation, we connect to our higher perfect image, and that enables a lot of confidence in the self. And lastly, the final technique in Raj Yoga is really to connect to the Supreme Source, the Supreme Soul, God Himself, and draw His powers over multiple life cycle of birth and death. We've all lost our power. We've created many negative emotions and performed negative karmas, so we've lost our power. Supreme Source is the only one that has full power and purity. He is the truth. So when we connect to Him in meditation and draw His powers, magic starts happening. This has been my experience. There were so many habits that I could never change. I knew they were bad for me, but I could not change them. But since I've been practicing Raj Yoga meditation, many of those habits have just magically gone away from my life. It is indeed the power that I am receiving in the meditation that has helped me let go of those habits. Do want to take few minutes, just a slide or two to talk about Brahmakumaris. That actually brings us to the end of presentation, and we will take questions soon. Do want to spend a minute just quickly talking about the spiritual organization. It was founded in 1937. We have more than 130 countries have centers, and more than 8,000 centers, over 1 million members are practicing Raj Yoga meditation, and they attend the regular classes in the centers. And our main motto for Brahmakumaris is really, share the spiritual knowledge through which self-transformation happens. And as each person transforms, the world automatically starts becoming better. It also cultivates a very deep consciousness of peace and really respecting every individual for their core being. And one of the biggest things is also it helps us from being so materialistic to being spiritual. Briefly about the Silicon Valley Center here located in Milpitas. The address is there, website, please note down the contact as well. Didi Kusum Kejriwal has been leading the center as a director for 25 years. It's been so beautiful and wonderful experience to get guidance, coaching, and motherly love from her. I have learned so much, coming in interaction with her. She's like a true mother for me, guides me in everything, in my personal stuff, the spiritual stuff, you name it, everything. This center offers everything for free. The Raj Yoga meditation course, pretty much every month we have this course. We have seminars, webinars, many events. We have kids living value classes and parenting classes. Right now, these have been put on a hold due to the COVID situation. And we also offer meditation retreats.